Dyson Daniels spent his time in high school playing for multiple Australian national teams and joined the NBA Global Academy in late 2019. Daniels had multiple college offers in the US, as well as an offer to play in Australia's National Basketball League this past season, but instead chose to sign with the G League Ignite to prepare himself for the NBA. Daniels has been a regular starter for the Ignite, and while he hasn't put up huge numbers, he has shown enough potential as a two-way wing to push himself into a possible lottery selection in this upcoming draft. Daniels' first strength is as a playmaker. Daniels is listed primarily as a shooting guard, but with his size and ability to handle the basketball, he doesn't really fit into one specific box positionally. As a result, we've been able to see Dyson run the offense for stretches of this past season. The results have been encouraging. Daniels has shown some solid ability to run the offense as a playmaker and thread passes to teammates through tight windows to put them in position to score. He reads the floor well, especially for such a young player, and should be able to step into a secondary playmaking role at the NBA level. Daniels will make mistakes at times. He will try to force passes into windows that are too small, or put his head down to try to score when setting up a teammate would be the better option. But as he matures as a player, he should improve in this area. I'm not sure NBA teams will ever have Daniels running the offense for long periods of time, but he can provide teams with some offensive versatility with his ability to play make as a shooting guard or forward. Another strength for Daniels is on-ball defense. Daniels has some great tools as a defender. He is now listed at 6'6", 185 pounds with a 6'10" wingspan, although there are rumors that he is still growing. But regardless, he gives opposing players problems not only with his size, but with his ability to stay in front and defend without fouling. He keeps himself vertical on drives in the half court, as well as in transition, and doesn't swipe at the ball too much. Daniels can currently switch seamlessly between guards and forwards without issue. I don't think he's quite big and athletic enough to switch onto true centers, but if he continues to grow, this could change. On the ball, Daniels is strong, but he will fall asleep off the ball at times. To reach his ceiling as a defender, he'll want to clean this up. But either way, Daniels won't be a defensive liability coming into the NBA, and he has the upside to be a really good defender. One last strength for Daniels is scoring in the paint. Daniels doesn't have the most traditional repertoire in the paint, but he sure is effective at what he does. He has this nifty hook shot that he gets to with ease, and also has good touch around the basket on push shots and floaters. Additionally, he isn't afraid to back down smaller players on the block and score at the basket. Coupling this touch around the basket with Daniels' ability to handle the ball, Daniels can provide a sort of Swiss Army knife player out on the wing. You can throw it to him on the perimeter and let him drive and finish, or you can have him set up down low and let him use his touch around the basket. Daniels likely isn't going to be a go-to scorer to start his career, but having the ability to score in the paint gives NBA teams some nice offensive versatility to work with. One weakness for Daniels is shooting. While Daniels has good touch on his shots in the paint, he has struggled to find the range and also struggles at the free throw line. In 29 total games between the Ignite Exhibition Tour and the Showcase Cup, Daniels has been shooting just under 30% from 3 and 51% at the line. These struggles aren't new either. In the FIBA Under-19 World Cup, Daniels shot just 30% from 3 and 63% at the line. His struggles as a shooter are a bit strange. He has a solid-looking shot overall and doesn't have a ton of bad misses. It seems that most of his misses are off the front rim, so it could be a case where he just needs to get more behind his shots. It's possible that as he gains some strength, he starts hitting those shots that he's been leaving short. The overall point though is that Daniels will need to improve as a shooter to keep himself on the floor as a wing player. His playmaking and defense will get him minutes, but if he wants to be on the floor in crunch time of big games, he won't be able to be treated as a non-shooter. Another weakness for Daniels is he is not a super athlete. Daniels has some decent quickness and footwork, but he is definitely more of a below-the-rim player overall. More athletic players can give him problems getting his shot off the way he wants to around the basket. It is encouraging that he has shown the ability to still score in the paint in the G League. The G League has some really good athletes. He'll have to continue to refine his touch around the basket as well as find his range as a shooter, because he definitely will not be the type of player that can dunk over guys every time. If he cannot do this, he could very much be an offensively challenged player. This first clip shows us some of Daniels' strength when it comes to scoring in the paint. The play starts with Daniels getting the pass out on the left wing. He then takes one dribble to the right, crosses over to the left, spins back to the right, and finishes the shot while being fouled. Daniels has great awareness of where he is on the court in relation to the basket, and the touch on his shots around the rim to finish plays like this. This will be a necessary skill for him to maintain and hone to reach his ceiling as a scorer in the NBA. This next clip displays Daniels' versatility and ability as a defender. The play starts with Daniels defending off the ball on the right wing. The ball gets swung over to his man and he gets put into a pick and roll. Daniels bumps the screener as he rolls to the basket and keeps his man out on the perimeter. He then uses his body to square up his man on the drive and prevent him from having an easy run at the basket. This results in the offensive player being forced to kick it out and reset. A lot of young players would have gotten tripped up by the pick and roll or panicked and swiped at the ball on the drive, but Daniels stayed disciplined and forced the offense to reset and try again. This ability as a defender will allow Daniels to fit seamlessly into a defense in the NBA. This last clip gives us a look at Daniels' struggles as a shooter. The play starts with Daniels coming off a screen on the right wing and taking the handoff. Daniels knows that he has plenty of space to work with and correctly uses the opportunity to set up and fire a three, but the shot goes thunk off the front iron. Daniels does everything right on this play from the decision and into his motion, but he just can't seem to get enough on his shots sometimes to clear the front iron. The hope is that NBA coaching as well as some added strength will allow him to improve as a shooter and reach his ceiling as an offensive option. Dyson Daniels has been slowly climbing up draft boards throughout the season thanks to steady contributions on both ends of the floor, as well as flashes of the offensive versatility he can provide. Growing 2+ inches and adding 15 pounds certainly didn't hurt either, but in a class filled with shooting guards, Daniels will still likely be only the 5th or 6th one off the board. Daniels' success as an NBA player will come down to how he develops offensively. If Daniels finds his shot from beyond the arc and at the free throw line, he very well could be a 2nd or 3rd scoring option on a team while providing good defense on the other end of the floor. If he plateaus where he is offensively, he likely tops out as a bench wing that occasionally dazzles us with a big game. My NBA comp for Dyson Daniels is Josh Giddey. Outside of the obvious Australian connection, the two actually have pretty similar games. They're both big guards that can facilitate the offense and finish creatively around the basket, but struggle with their outside shot. Giddey seems like he has a higher ceiling at this time, but if Daniels' shot comes around, it could be a different story.